Over the years that I've been building PCs, I've made pretty much every mistake possible, sometimes even more than once, which is kind of embarrassing to admit, but I've also learned a whole lot, and today I'm going to share with you some quick tips that'll hopefully save you some time, maybe even a little money, and just help your overall PC building experience go as smoothly as possible. So let's do this. So tip number one is plan your build and do your research before you start buying any hardware. It's super easy these days to just go online and start picking out PC parts based on positive user reviews. But the problem with that is you really need to consider how all of those parts are going to work together in a system. For example, are they all going to be compatible? Are you picking a CPU that doesn't come with a stock cooler? In which case you need an aftermarket cooler. And is the aftermarket cooler that you're looking at going to fit in your PC case without conflicting with other hardware? Is your RAM going to be compatible with your motherboard and be able to run at its rated speeds and timings? And is your power supply going to be big enough to power the entire system build? All of those things are super important, and the only real way to answer those questions is to do your research and homework before you buy your hardware. And there's a lot of resources online that you can use, like manufacturers' websites. You can check out user reviews and even just post comments in forums, or even right down here in the comment section on YouTube. An awesome resource to check for motherboard compatibility is qualified vendor lists on motherboard manufacturers' websites. These are often called QVLs for short, and what they are comprehensive lists of all sorts of different hardware that's been tested and deemed compatible by the manufacturer. So that is an awesome resource to check for compatibility. When it comes to CPU coolers, make sure that the socket type on your motherboard is officially supported. And for PC cases, there's a lot of different things to consider, like you need to make sure that it's going to fit your motherboard form factor, whether that be ATX, eATX, MATX, whatever you're using. And you're going to want to check the GPU clearance length to make sure your graphics card is going to fit. And finally, make sure that your cooler is going to fit. There's all sorts of different requirements, height restrictions, and stuff like that for those giant air coolers. And radiator support's really important if you're using an AIO. There's one major component that a lot of first-time builders or even just inexperienced builders tend to overlook, and it's the power supply. And this is a critical piece of system hardware that you really don't want to cheap out on. You really want to make sure that you have enough power to really adequately power your entire system. And it doesn't matter if you're building a low-end basic system or a super high-end system designed for overclocking. Power supply is a super important piece of hardware. So how do you know if you're getting a big enough power supply to power everything? One quick way to get a ballpark figure for how much power you need is to just use an online PSU calculator. If you go over to Google and type in PSU calculator, there should be a whole bunch of free results that come up. Here's one here from Newegg. It's really easy to use. You just kind of pick which hardware you're thinking of using, and it'll spit out a number for you in terms of how much wattage you should be looking at for your system. Tip number two is consider assembling your hardware outside of the case. That way you can test it before you actually install it and start screwing everything down. That way, if you have to do any troubleshooting or if you run into an issue and you have to swap out a component, you probably won't have to disassemble your entire build and waste potentially hours doing that. And it also has the advantage of giving you a lot more space to work, which I think is pretty good for first-time system builders. So it's a lot easier to install CPUs, air coolers, RAM, and even M.2 drives when you're not confined by the dimensions of your PC case. And also, just a quick tip, when you're handling your PC hardware or electronics in general, just make sure you ground yourself first by touching something metal, or you can wear one of those grounding wrist straps if you have one. The next tip deals with installing the CPU, and a lot of first-time system builders really freak out when it comes to installing this critical component because they're worried about which way it goes into the socket and they don't want to cause damage to it because, I mean, it's expensive. But thankfully, there's a really easy way to tell if you're installing it correctly. All you got to do is identify the little triangle symbol on the CPU and then find that same symbol on the CPU socket. And as long as you align the two, you know you've got the orientation correct. And it doesn't matter if you're using AMD or Intel, both platforms have these symbols. And also another quick tip when installing the CPU, do not force it. If you've got the orientation correct, it should just slide and drop right into the socket without any effort, no force, no wiggling or anything like that. So if you find that you've got to, or if you feel like you got to really jam your CPU into the socket, I would back off because there's a really good chance you're doing it wrong and you're going to risk causing damage to your hardware. The next tip is that you should double, triple, even quadruple check that you've got the right motherboard standoffs in your case before you install your board. A lot of cases these days have markings right on the mounting tray that'll show you which standoff layout to use based on the different form factors of boards that are out there. So you want to make sure you've got the right layout of standoffs for the board that you plan to install. And if you've got a case that doesn't have any of these labels, you can check the user's manual for the case, or if all else fails, just make sure that the layout of standoffs in your case matches up with the mounting hole locations on your motherboard, and you should be good to go. But the risk here is if you've got standoffs in the incorrect locations, they could make contact with the electrical components on your board, and that can cause a short. And when you're dealing with electronics, shorts are really not a good thing. So take your time and be careful. The next tip is consider using a magnetic screwdriver for all your hardware installations. And let me tell you, this can really help you keep your sanity during the build process. There's nothing worse than going to screw something in and then the screw falls off and goes into some hard to reach place inside your case where you can't get your hand to get it out, and then it's stuck in there and then it rattles and drives you crazy. It's happened to me a million times and it's super frustrating. It's seriously the worst. So a magnetic screwdriver can really minimize all those drop screws. And when they do happen, you can also use the screwdriver to find the screw and pull it out of those hard to reach places. So it can really be a lifesaver. So yeah, that's a really good tip and definitely something that I recommend. And I don't think you have to worry about it ruining any of your hardware. It's not a super strong magnetic field unless you have some weird screwdriver that has like a giant electromagnet attached, but I've never seen anything like that. But still, I always recommend using caution and safety when working with electrical components. So remember, your screwdriver is designed to touch screws and mounting hardware only. It shouldn't be touching any electrical surfaces or anything like that anyway. Now, since it's 2020, the next tip's about RGB lighting, because that stuff's everywhere these days. There's a ton of components out there that require specialized connections to motherboards in order to power their specialized RGB lighting effects, stuff like case fans, CPU coolers, and even just light strips for your case. And there's a couple of different RGB connectors that make these systems work. The first is a regular RGB connector that uses 4 pins and 12 volts of power, and then there's an ARGB connector that uses 3 pins and 5 volts of power. And these systems are completely different and not at all interchangeable, so it's important to understand the difference and identify which ones you need for your components. The ARGB header is a lot more advanced in terms of functionality compared to the RGB header, and for that reason, parts with more advanced lighting effects tend to use the ARGB system. So if you're looking at a specific part that has RGB lighting, it's important to check your motherboard and make sure that it's going to have those connectors available. So hopefully you found these quick tips useful when planning your next system build or even your first system build. But if there's a specific question about a piece of hardware or a combination of hardware or settings that you have questions about, post a comment down below and hopefully people will start sharing their experiences and everybody can learn and benefit from that. I'd like to get a good community discussion going here where you can come here and use this video as a resource and hopefully answer any questions that you have during your PC building process to just help it go as smooth as possible. Let's all learn from each other. And if you like this type of video with these tips on building computers and whatever else, leave us a comment about that as well, and maybe we'll do some more of these. For now, give the video a thumbs up, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications, and we'll see ya.